Okay.
I tried to. So I tried to show this to my 9-year-old son last night, and he was with it for about the first 15 minutes, and then he fell asleep for the whole fucking thing.
Oh.
And I was like, "You missed it."
You need a new kid.
Yeah, you got to reboot that one. That's to unplug it and plug it back in.
Yeah.
No, it was very enjoyable. You know, I know the story forward and backward, which is actually kind of helpful. And they're doing some weird stuff in terms of like, do you see my diagram?
Yeah, I did look at your diagram.
Okay, this diagram is very important. It will be a superimposition. I might as well just go into it right now.
But I mean, the Muppets have always been sort of meta.
Well, I mean, Muppet Treasure Island is actually frightening. Like Tim Curry in that movie is just fucking scary as shit. And it starts with him murdering his entire crew. Like it literally, they're burying treasure and it's just like, oh, Muppets are digging and they're putting a thing full of gold into the ground and blah, blah, blah. And it starts zooming in on Tim Curry and zooming in. And it's not zooming in on his face, it's zooming in on his midsection. And so it's just coming in and in and in. And then he just pulls out 2 fucking muskets and shoots. And and it cuts to the credits. And it's like, holy shit. Like, like they are not afraid to go there with death, with like severe illnesses, with whatever. It's just like, nah.
Well, they even say that in here when Gonzo's show. They even say it here when the Ratzo's all, hey, isn't this kind of dark and scary? He's all, yeah, but it's culture.
It's culture.
It's culture. That's good stuff.
Frank Oz, man. I love Frank Oz.
And at some point, the narrator just quits. Like, after, it's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't handle this. I'm out.
He just leaves. But that's good because it gives it
see you at the finale.
Exactly.
Right. And
it gives it a certain intensity, which is pretty welcome there. But no, it's just that the tone was weird because it's still a Muppet movie. There's Muppets in it, and some of the Muppets are playing characters. Some of them are playing different characters who are not playing different characters. It's really weird.
And they address it.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Which I love.
But I like how it's billed.
It
I like how it's billed though. It's all Kermit the Frog as. Like,
that's right. There you go. You accept that
playing a character.
Yeah,
Rizzo and Gonzo have to be there for the kids.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
for the young kids, you need Rizzo and Gonzo doing their wacky stuff. And then also they always throw the meta jokes in with those characters too. So like he says, I can tell you storytellers are omniscient, and Rizzo goes, well, hoity-toity, Mr. Godlike Smarty Pants. Like that's a joke for the parents.
Right.
Like this, they always did a really good job of like jokes for the kids and jokes for the parents.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of pre-Pixar in some ways.
Yes, exactly.
Well, sort of like
I remember
Warner Brothers cartoons.
Yeah,
like
that too.
I'm not this is not my take. Like this movie obviously is very, very well done. It's not my taste, so I'm not like a fan of this kind of thing, but I can admit and tell everyone that this is a great film. Like it's just not, I'm not the audience for this.
No.
I remember being a kid and watching the Muppets, and I was sort of into it. I thought it was okay, but always, maybe this tells you too much about me. Like my favorite were always those 2 fucking old dudes making fun of everyone.
Statler and Waldorf are great. Everyone loves them.
Yeah.
Also, and everyone else I always thought was just kind of
okay,
silly. Yeah, I just didn't care.
Yeah.
This was shot in
I'm kind of there with you. I've always thought, yeah, the Muppets are okay. That's kind of where I'm at.
No, I think,
yeah, it's
the thing is, this was all shot.
I was really impressed with this production, but it's just not my cup of tea. But I can't say it's bad. It's not bad at all.
It's also really well shot.
No, I was gonna say this was all done in the UK, and it has really good production values. There are some scenes near the first third of the film that were luminous. They're beautifully
all the sets, all the little. I'm assuming those are sort of kind of miniatures, but they look great.
It's like these guys went through a lot of effort for a kids movie. That's what I kept feeling.
Well, and the other thing to remember is that all of these sets are 5.5 feet off the ground.
Yeah, that's true.
So the performers can stand there like this. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
At some points, I was kind of taken out of the movie just thinking about how many characters were on screen doing stuff at the same time. Numbers. Just going.
Well, I was seriously like every time it was a full body shot, like a wide shot of Kermit, I was like, how the fuck did they do that? That's awesome.
There's a shot where he's carrying Tiny Tim down the street, and it totally took me out of the movie.
No idea.
Oh, go back to the original Muppet movie in '79, which I will admit I saw in the theaters.
I know he rides a bicycle
3 times. The scene with Kermit on the bicycle.
Yeah.
But somehow that didn't throw me as much as him walking down the street in this one.
No.
Where
to the beat of the song they're humming.
Yeah. Now they
Yeah,
achieved a
like-
naturalism in there that's kind of baffling.
and when it's
And-
on screen long enough that you go, okay, so he's standing still and they're moving him like he's walking, and they have the street is on a roller that's moving under his feet, and then the buildings are moving past him in perspective. It just wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Also,
it's
what did we all
impressive.
what did we all learn about Muppet genetics in the Cratchit family?
So in the
that
commentary track,
if you're female, you're a pig.
Frog is the dominant gene.
in the
If you're, let's just say there's no such thing as transgender people in the Muppet world.
Okay.
in the sorry,
know,
that would be
pretty
trans species. That would be
trans.
trans species people. The
Trans species people.
the
I mean,
the-
all the girls are Piggy and all the boys
Boys
are
are
Kermit.
frogs.
And
It's on
that's
the
how
X
it,
or Y chromosome.
on the
exactly.
commentary
Frog
track,
pig.
Brian Henson specifically
It was
talks
like
about this,
features
Yeah.
added.
where he goes, "We were trying to decide what would happen if Piggy and Kermit had children, and we're going around and we're going around and we're going around, and one of the writers just goes, what if all the girls are frogs and all the or all the boys are frogs and all the girls are pigs?" And everyone went, great. Anyway,
Bubble star.
Yeah. I know. Well, the other thing I was like, when I was watching, I was like, can you imagine like some weird looking Muppet that was half frog, half pig? We like recoil.
that's what they
from
were
it.
going for,
That was
and
probably
then
the
everyone
background
was
to
like,
some of these
no,
shots.
No.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let me ask this because I think Ted, you might be the reigning authority here on the Muppet universe, the extended
Probably.
Muppet universe,
The Muppiverse.
the Muppiverse. Kermit and Miss Piggy are never married in the regular Muppet universe. This is the only time we see them married.
this is
They're
the
never married.
Well, they're
They're-
playing
they're
characters.
They're
together.
playing characters
they're
that are
playing
married.
characters. There
Yeah.
are
Kirby!
there are other Muppet
Very good.
there are other Muppet things where they play husband and wife in those, and they
They're
were
always girlfriend and boyfriend. Though.
right. They were
They're always acting.
together the whole time
They're always
as characters
playing.
until the most recent Muppet movie, the one that was done. The songs were done by the Flight of the Conchords guy,
Yeah.
and they broke up.
I didn't see that.
All right.
Which it's good. That's a
No, the
good
Muppets, the
movie.
one with come on, that
The dude from
Big Bang Theory.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
that's
Yeah,
the
that
one.
guy.
That was a
That
good
guy.
film, and that
Oh,
was a
right.
really interesting movie.
And Jim Parsons is in it,
Is that
and
Jason Segel or whatever?
Yeah, Jason
And-
Segel
yeah.
did that one.
Because
Amy
he's
Adams
good.
is in it, and
It's
it's got a
good.
really good cast.
Isn't
And
also is that the one Ricky Gervais is in?
Probably.
I think
maybe-
briefly.
I think Ricky Gervais is in that too.
I don't remember him, but sure,
Yeah.
probably.
I think he was the bad guy.
Yeah,
Well, it had great
probably.
production
I
values,
kept
and there's a
waiting
lot
for
of
Yoda to
weird.
show up.
I wrote about this, having some very strange ideas about what Muppets were, and it kind of went from that. But good stuff, though. It was good, and this was a good film too.
I just
Statler and
wanna- I
Waldorf
just-
could have been
They
more
were.
sarcastic.
I just
Yeah.
want to have a minute. I just want to have a minute to talk about this bullshit with the fucking When Love Is Gone. Like,
Oh yeah, mine didn't have it.
Mhm.
that's,
Yeah, I watched it. I
it's-
rented it on Amazon for $3.99 and did not have that scene.
It's
in it.
wasn't
so
released
I take
fucking
it back. I didn't see it.
frustrating. Like the reason that I even brought this up originally weeks ago when we were talking about Absolute Beginners is because of When Love Is Gone. Like that song is so fucking powerful in terms of the two characters. Like you understand everything about Scrooge in that moment. Like you watch that song where he is standing behind her as the future version of himself and realizing what he fucked up in his life,
Right.
and they just were like, no, that's not going to be in the movie. And so they cut it out of the theatrical release, and then when they put it out on VHS, Brian Henson and some of the other people fought and were like, no, put it back in the movie. So they recreated it with dailies, and they put it back in the movie, recreated with dailies. And then when they put it out on DVD, it was on the DVD.
Mhm.
But now they've taken it out of a number of the digital versions and one at least of the Blu-ray versions of it.
Yeah.
And it's in some versions
On
and
the
not
Blu-ray.
other versions. And it's like,
You would
Do
think
you
that
not
that
I
whole
don't even know
thing,
why.
this
Why?
is the
Enjoy
emotional
that.
crux of your movie.
Right.
you would think that you would just think on a production level, like having different versions would be more complicated for distribution, like just have one and go with it. Like
No, it's
It's 2.5
insane.
minutes, right? It's like, who cares? I don't know
Yeah,
why they,
It's not even that long.
And
Yeah.
they throw it, and they throw on the DVD and the Blu-ray that I have, they throw a little card up at the front that's basically just like, hey, there's a scene in here where the quality of the video doesn't match the rest of the movie. Sorry.
Oh, like
And-
the Devils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
nowadays
that's it.
they could get nowadays they could just get somebody with DaVinci Resolve, man. We can make it work.
Yeah,
Let's
they
do
could
it.
AI that shit right back into looking like Michael Caine behind me. Like, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, the disc, I watched it on disc. I got it from Netflix, and it did not have the scene. But fortunately, because a lot of people it was Christmas time, and a lot of people were talking about it on Twitter.
Right.
Somebody mentioned that missing song, and so I went back and said, okay, tell me exactly where I'm supposed to watch that
You
missing
wanted to cut
song. And he
over.
gave me the directions. So I had it queued up on YouTube, and I just switched over, watched it, then got back to the disc.
Well,
and
that's the good.
Oh,
That's the
good.
good thing about the version that's on YouTube is it has the pre and the post,
Uh-huh.
so you know exactly where it stitches in the movie.
He gave me the line. He said,
Yeah.
when she says, I remember when you felt that way at one time, or I
Yeah,
forget.
yeah, yeah.
He gave me the exact line to cut away from. It is interesting, and I get why they cut it. I don't agree that it needed.
I don't know why they cut it.
No, they cut
The
it for
reason they
time.
cut
They
it
cut
is
it because it didn't really advance the story.
Well, it doesn't.
Yes, it totally does.
It advances the emotional
for
story,
children.
not the narrative.
Not for
It
children.
advances
That
this-
may be my biggest problem with this movie.
Uh-huh.
She pops up in this movie as a flashback, basically.
Mhm.
She's the ghost of Christmas Past. We've never seen her before, and she gets to sing a whole song solo, and then she's gone.
Right.
So I get
She
why
was
they-
also hired to do this because she was a stage actress, and she continues to perform this song and put it out on a
Wow.
CD like last year. And she's in her late 40s, early 50s at this point in time, and she's still amazing. Like, I'll track down that YouTube video and I'll put it in the DMs. But like yeah, it's a great performance.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I don't see why they had to economize for, was it 3-4 minutes?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally the extent of it. You're probably talking about 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know why they had to feel to get down below a certain level. That might have been
Because
The YouTube
that was
that
a-
you
that's
put out
probably
Kat,
a-
was like 5.5, but at the bookends was stuff
Right.
that's still in the
yeah,
movie.
that's a bean counter decision.
No, that's
like
true. It's
someone
already a
saying,
short movie.
You'll
It's
get
only like
more
an hour and a
kids if
half.
it's less than an hour. It's
No,
1 hour and
25
25
minutes.
minutes. Yeah.
An hour
I thought it
28
was
for that
Roy
movie.
Disney who made the
Yeah.
decision.
It was absolutely Disney. Like,
Also,
this
they're
is
trying to hit
right
the-
after Disney bought Henson, and they just came in, and Jim had just died, and so they were like, we're going to come in and we're going to throw our weight around, and we're going to make this the movie that we want, and you're going to do the things that we want. And it took Brian Henson, who directed it, and several other people, including Frank Oz, going, no, put this shit back in, to make it back into the VHS and then eventually DVD and occasional digital release. Yeah, it's really frustrating. I didn't realize it was that much of a problem after the DVD, because I just figured, oh, it's on the DVD, it's going to be on all of the rest of them. And
There's a reason there's no reason to cut him out of that. That's for sure.
yeah.
All right, I'm
yeah.
gonna be the asshole that has issues.
But no, they're
You
trying
guys
for.
can all put up. You guys
I
can all
don't-
put up the Chris is wrong slide.
Mm.
First, my caveat is I fucking love the Muppets. I saw every single episode of the Muppet Show. I
Same here.
saw the first Muppet movie probably 3 times in the theater. I could sing you guys the Rainbow Connection right now because I know all the fucking words, and I love those songs in that movie.
I could
What-
sing all
okay,
the songs.
wait.
I could sing all the songs from this
Can-
word for
can I
word.
just
I
say
did
that
not
I-
love the songs in this movie. I did
I'm
not.
a little worried about Chris and Tad. I'm just for the record,
Yeah, yeah.
I
I think we should send them to Norway.
I wanted to like this movie way more than I did. I thought that it struggled mightily with anytime. Like, there was a couple scenes I really liked. It takes 43 minutes for the guys behind me to show up. And it's like, oh, thank God, there they are. Because for me, what I really loved, particularly about the Muppet Show, was a nice balance between schmaltz and snark,
Yeah.
mostly snark. And it takes a while for the snark to kick into this movie. Like, it's almost non-existent. There's a lot of schmaltz, which is inherent in the story. But I did appreciate when these guys showed up, and that was really, I like that. And then there's a bit about 10 minutes after this where the Ghost of Christmas Present takes Michael Caine to that party where Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem are there, and I liked all, that was because the personalities of there's Swedish Chef doing his thing when the Muppets were carrying their
Verdi,
existing
Versky.
personas. Well, no, and you get fucking you get Beaker and Dr. Bunsen they're not like and I understand what like they're trying to like. I'm going to try to like cram these characters into this story, and
Beaker's
sometimes they let them be themselves, which is the stuff that I like. When you let these guys be themselves, it's great, and it kind of married up with the Marley character.
If they weren't there, you would have felt cheated. That's the thing.
Well, right. When I appreciated when they showed up and were allowed to do their thing.
Right.
Like they came in and they did their thing, and I like that. And then then you get I don't know, like what saved this movie for me ultimately was Michael Caine was in this 110 fucking %.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When he was
he played it straight
with his face, like suddenly like, God damn, man, like I love this guy. Like he is not phoning it in at all.
No,
he is bringing the emotion that I'm looking for. And I guess you said that this is your Christmas tradition. Like you watched this movie. I'd never seen it before. I watched it today.
Look at this shit.
I know.
Right,
that
like,
stuff. Yeah.
With him, like he was great.
Yeah.
Like
well,
that,
in the original story, like when you read the original story, which is not that long, and
which I do every year. Actually, I read this thing every year. I have a big hardbound version of it. Yeah.
Like you understand. This is what happened. This is why he's the way he is.
Yeah.
Which and even in this movie, the whole beginning of it, where they have the introductory song about him. There's that moment where they're like, oh, he must be so lonely. He must be so sad. This is why he's lonely and sad.
Yeah.
You know, like he's lonely and sad because the one person he ever loved, because his parents sent him off to fucking boarding school and didn't care about him. And then the only friends he ever had only cared about money. Like,
yeah, well, we all have stories.
I think A Christmas Carol is kind of one of those super subjective things where like James Bond or Sherlock Holmes, it's like the one you love, it has a lot to do with when you saw it.
Yeah, I'll always be a Jeremy Brett fan for Sherlock Holmes. Like everyone else is wrong.
Roger Moore.
Everyone else
I can't defend it, but that's who I grew up with.
Yeah.
The worst.
Fucking Clown Bond is my Bond.
You're gonna say that's worse than Lazenby?
Hey, at least you're self-aware.
No, that's a good movie. Lazenby's good movie.
It's a good movie because no one in that movie has any idea what's happening. Everyone thinks they're in a different movie for the entirety of On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
I probably need to rewatch it.
You guys gotta watch.
No, this is why I liked Diamonds Are Forever so much, because they brought Sean Connery back to do it, and he's basically the whole movie's just doing this.
It's a parody of the James Bond movie.
I know. It's like,
that movie sucks.
You couldn't work without me. Go fuck yourselves.
It's for your eyes only, but actually a Bond plot.
In the excellent TV show from Australia called Mr. In Between, there is a scene where there are two criminals. One of them's a hitman, the other one's just his buddy.
Yeah.
They discuss who the best Bond is, and one of them says Lazenby because he's actually an Australian actor.
Right. He's a model. He's not.
Yeah.
Model.
Yeah.
And then they go down, and they can't. It's so funny because they can't remember fucking Daniel Craig's name, and they're just all who's the bloke? Who's the bloke doing it now? Who's the bloke now? Yeah, he's good. They're like, it's so funny.
On the road to
this whole thing happens, like all this action, and then they're all Daniel fucking Craig. Like, it's so good.
That is a good show, by the way. I've watched some more of it, and that is definitely a good show.
Well, anyway, good pick. I really
at the margin, Michael Caine. Michael Caine is a
he really.
Has anyone ever seen Michael Caine do anything bad? I don't really know if I have.
No, that's the thing.
No,
that's the thing about this era when Michael Caine was in this
movie. You're right. Jaws
4.
No, Michael Caine was doing 4 movies,
when he
5
missed
movies a
picking up
year
his,
back then. Remember that?
Oscar
85 to
for that.
95.
But he's kind of like Denzel Washington. Like, Denzel Washington doesn't do bad work. He just sometimes is in bad movies, or almost all the time.
Because he does so many movies. Yeah, that's what Michael Caine does. He was in a lot
Denzel is
of
always good. He's just in shitty movies.
I read
like Tenet.
Michael Caine had a quote about, like, just basically, you take the job for the money and you give it. You're there to do a job. You do the fucking job the best you can.
Well,
likes to
but
work.
he didn't take this movie for the money. He took it because he wanted to play Scrooge, and he wanted to do it 100%.
He was fantastic.
Well, that's because he's a great actor. The thing
It
is,
was so.
no,
I'll tell you something.
He did the movie for money. It's just that he was at that point in such flow. He would go from movie to movie to movie, and he was just natural. He
was so good. I wished it wasn't a Muppet movie. I don't mean no disrespect.
No, he was fantastic.
But I was like, this could be,
No,
there's no way to say that without disrespect.
I know it's hard to say that.
He literally has.
I mean, the Muppets are fine, but they're
in interviews like, I'm going to
Muppets.
play this as if everyone else on stage with me is a Royal Shakespeare
And
Company
he did.
actor.
And that's the
he
only
did.
way to do it. You got to commit. It's a
Yeah.
horror film or sci-fi or Muppet.
Impressively committed to this.
Also,
the guy who plays his nephew also is 100% committed.
Yeah.
The woman who plays Belle is 100% committed. Like all of the human.
We've all seen that.
actors in
We've
this.
all seen that nephew actor in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a really good career.
I had to look it up because at first I thought it was Paul Bettany.
I did too. I
No,
thought it
for
was
a
Paul
second,
Bettany too.
for a
I'm all,
second.
a young Paul Bettany, and then I'm all, no, wait.
No.
Wrong.
No, it is thin British actors with prominent foreheads, and I think there's a lot of them.
He's like Steven something, but
Also,
I
been in a
just
shit
watched.
ton of movies.
I just watched the trailer for It's a Sin, and it was like everyone in the trailer for It's a Sin is just, hello,
Yeah.
I'm British.
Also, my favorite character in the film is right in Tad's background. That bunny rabbit was the best guy in the whole.
Floppy Bunny.
The
The bunny rabbit shivering was like my
Oh,
one moment
my
with the
God.
Muppet character. I was
Had
like,
a fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
They literally. So the whole thing is everyone in Henson Studios hates Floppy Bunny. Like they
really?
vile
Really?
him, so they constantly try to punish him as much as possible in all of their movies. So that's why he gets hit by the wreath, and that's why he's freezing to death. And it's one of those things where it's just like we're gonna redeem Floppy in this.
It's an inside
and that's why
joke.
he has. That's why he has
wow.
this scene where he gets to be the one to go and buy the goose
Surprise
and all
turkey.
of that.
If you are gonna go for sort of the schmaltzy, like tug at the heartstrings, Hallmark moments.
Mhm.
I mean, when the pan from the table to Tiny Tim's chair is pretty sad.
Another one.
That works. I was just gonna say, can we just give it up for Charles Dickens, because this movie works every time it's made.
Oh
It
yeah.
doesn't matter if it's
That's
puppets
why they
or a
make it
cartoon
so much.
or a musical. When they cut to the chair and it's the little crutch, it's like, oh my god!
I know.
Well,
It's
even
a,
the
whole, I
It's a
picked
great
spot
story.
for
you're
him.
you're not alive if that doesn't affect you in some
I picked
way.
a spot
agree.
for him where he could see the ducks on the river.
Oh
like-
god, that was
Oh god.
that was good too.
yeah, that was.
No, yeah.
And it's Kermit the Frog. And you're
I
just
know.
like, Jesus Christ, you're all made of socks.
Yeah.
This is a hard property to screw up. Yeah, even Mr. Magoo did a good job of this.
That's right.
Who did this?
There's an Animaniacs version too. Like
Yeah,
it's just-
exactly.